Dear participants, may I now welcome and introduce our second speaker, Professor Sibi John, who is presently Director ad interim Punjab Engineering College, PEC, University of Technology, Chandigarh. Professor Sibi John has served as Professor of Civil Engineering Department and Dean there. He has also given his contributions as Dean Academics, IKG PTU Jalandhar. He did his doctorate from IIT Kanpur. Dr. John has a rich academic and research experience, during which he has handled many prestigious projects, authored more than 100 peer-reviewed articles, and contributed more than 100 papers in conferences and seminars. He has also authored 4 books on environmental pollution. He is a fellow of Institution of Engineers India and member of IAEM, ISTE, IAAPC, and EWRI of ASGE. May I now invite you, sir, for your expert talk on quality ODL.
Yeah, is my slide visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm especially thankful to the organizers and the director NIEER Chandigarh for having invited me to give a talk on this timely issue of ODL in this particular workshop. Well, I feel much relaxed and comfortable because Professor Patnaik has touched upon almost all the quality issues associated with ODL. One of the emphasis which I would like to give in my presentation is to look at the ODL as a standalone activity vis-a-vis a support activity. By and large, almost all of us at this juncture or this point of the history has been considering online, open and distance learning as a support activity to our conventional academic activity. But see that ODL is also existing as a standalone activity which has its own capability in spanning across the NEP 2020 as a visionary document or a visionary strategy which the entire country is planning to implement. So that is why I have slightly changed the title. It's an inbuilt strategy in NEP 2020 as it has been said by the introductory remarks by Professor Rajneesh Arora, that multiple entry, multiple exit, massification of the education in the country vis-a-vis the entire globe is a strategy which we have imbibed or which we have tried to inbuilt or built in the system of NEP 2020. So that is my target. Many of the issues which I would be projecting over here would be well known to you. I feel myself humbled because I'm talking to people who are well versed in pedagogy and curriculum design and so on and so forth. So therefore, I would request your pardon if I am stretching or if I am intruding into an area which is not very close to my domain. But I would leave it as a food for thought. Whatever scattered thought which is coming to me, I throw it as an open discussion point for all the participants. So with that, I start my presentation. When I talk about the ODL, the most important epical character who comes to my mind is Eklavya. Well, of course, he lost his thumb for practicing the ODL, but we use both the hands to push ODL as a strategy, which is a well-meaning strategy and a workable strategy in implementing NEP 2020. So I have been just counting the entire document of NEP 2020 precisely in 15 different locations, the ODL figures in NEP 2020. If you look at 10.10, we find that ODL has been carefully inbuilt in the strategy of NEP 2020. We find that all types of institutions, as what Professor Rajneesh Arora said in the morning, that whether it is run ODL and online programs, provided they are specifically accredited for doing so. This is with a primary motive to increase the gross enrollment ratio of the country, as it was projected to 50% by 2030. We are very much close to the decade at the moment. The ODL programs and their components leading to a diploma or a degree will be of standards and quality equivalent to that of similar programs offered in the HEIs. So we will come back to this issue at a later slide. In 12.6, again, there is a reference to ODL. There it has been clearly mentioned that the regulatory agency shall bring in the regulations and accreditation or the norms and standards and guidelines for offering or operating ODLs in this country, and the framework for the quality, which is of a recommendatory nature, which can be used by the HEIs for their introspection or self-evaluation by the General Educational Council. Okay, in 12.7, again we find a specific mention to ODL. There it is said that in all ODL modes, it has to be of international standards and standards of quality, whereby we having strength in the pedagogical aspects of Oriental sciences, including yoga and traditional wisdom of the Indian Oriental sciences, would be in a position to offer many of these programs, as what Professor Patnaik has already commented upon, almost similar to Nalanda and similar universities of our ancient glory. That is what is where again ODL has been brought in as a workable strategy. This is what figures in 12.7. So when I look into ODL, I was just trying to look at the literature. Unfortunately, there is no single definition for open and distance learning. But many of the definitions, many of the approaches to define the term converge to something like this is having a separation between the teacher and the learner, either in time or space or both. It has to have an institutional accreditation, whereby the program, the learning is certified by an institution or an agency. It uses multimedia courseware, which Professor Patnaik was elaborating upon. I will not get into the details of it, but the only advantage we gain in terms of an ODL structure is that the courseware normally are pre-tested. This is in comparison with the conventional educational pattern, where the teacher maybe on an extempore tries something out, maybe back home, back to his faculty room. By the end of the day, he may have a diary entry that this kind of an example may not work for Newton's third law. Fine. There is an element of hit and try, whereas in case of ODL, by and large, the courseware is pre-tested and validated. Therefore, it can be applied for straight use. I endorse here the viewpoint which Professor Patnaik brought forward by saying that we can always have the open sources shared and made use of by multiple users in the ODL. It allows a two-way communication if the tutors and the learners are capable of interacting. This component on date we have brought in by our innovations in the online teaching mode, which we are practicing in the difficult times of COVID. It also has a face-to-face meeting possibility in terms of the tutorials, in terms of the learner interaction, which Professor Patnaik was highlighting as peer learning, or the library or practice sessions, which we will be in a position to put forward on a virtual mode, where there is a guided learning process which is followed. It also has an opportunity to industrialize the process. The classical example world over, we can take the credit of. The classical example world over taken is the People's University IGNOU of India, which has almost has a strength which has covered the entire country as an entity. So that shows the enormous potential of ODL in a country like India. Well, of course, as many of the previous speakers have commented upon, you have multiple synonyms available in the literature, which is called as correspondence education, home study, independent study, external studies, or continuing education, or self-instruction. And many a times in many of the early stage developments, we used this as a strategy for adult education in universalizing or massification of the education, as has been emphasized in NAP 2020. The technology based or mediated education on date, the learner-centric educational process, the flexible learning or the distributed learning. On date, the current terminologies which clearly indicate these frame of the activities are ODL stands merged with blended learning or even e-learning or the online learning on date. This is what is a pictorial representation of the current multiple terminology which we use for designating the ODL as we envision the terminology. Fine. I take help of John Daniels' iron triangle, which is customized. Iron triangle, as you know, many of my mechanical engineering friends know, it is a triangle picturization for education. Maybe ODL, we can look at it. This is having the three components of the triangle are universal access, quality, and cost involved in implementing that. Is my slide moving? Can I have a quick feedback? Is my slide moving?
Yes, sir, it's moving. Continue.
Yes, sir, it's working. Thank you. So, the use of iron triangle in this particular context is that if we can stretch the triangle to achieve simultaneously wider access, a universal access, and a higher quality, as what is shown over here with the minimal cost. That is what is the approach which we can adopt. These are all options available to look at the iron triangle modifications, which can give a fair feel of what we are looking at in the ODL possibility at the moment. Okay, there are in the literature in Taylor 92, you have 5 distinct generations of the ODL projected, and the current generation, the 5th generation, is the online delivery, which has been deliberated upon extensively in today's discussion, but always a mixture, a blended mode of different the capabilities of the different levels of the distinct generations of ODL is a possibility, and that makes the win-win situation for a successful ODL we are talking about. Okay, coming to the talking very close to the theme. In fact, Professor Singh has given me a brochure in which he has said that the experts will be highlighting the issues and limitations of ODL. That's why I brought in this slide. One of the very common limitations of ODL is that so far we have not given ODL its due respect. So far, it has been considered as a second-rated activity. It is essentially because of the quality issues of ODL. Till now, we do not have that kind of a faith factor, that kind of an established reliability, whereby the evil of plagiarism cropping into the ODL studies can be well managed. I'm sure many of the institutions, including ours, have shied ourselves off from having even the online evaluations during the COVID pandemic situation, essentially because of this eventuality through which we are going through. Well, of course, we have different platforms which have come up, which can help us in achieving success in that. And also we understand, as what Professor Patnaik has highlighted, we lack trained academic staff who can take care of the specific requirements of ODL, graduating themselves from the conventional teaching mode. As what he has beautifully presented, many of the teachers duplicate the chalk and board system, gluing into the Google Classroom or any of those platforms, and doing the same old stuff what we have been doing in the on the Blackboard. That is something which has to change. A paradigm shift has to be brought in over there, whereby these limitations of ODL can be illuminated or taken care of. The reason why I was just trying to project this is that in the current NEP 2020, if you look at the clauses which define and redefine ODL, we find that the ODL is given an equivalent status as that of similar programs offered in the regular mode or the conventional system, and it is also envisaged to have quality standards equivalent to that of the international quality standards on similar programs. And the mechanisms and methodology and the norms of offering the ODL is to be evolved. So therefore, becomes a responsibility of all of us to ponder over these issues and try to evolve strategies whereby we would be in a position to circumdo the limitations of ODL as perceived. Well, of course, as Professor Patnaik has already mentioned, we have several discourses on ODL on current date. We have the open educational resources, OER, we have the massive open online courses, we have learning analytics, we have up to gamification, what he has already deliberated upon. Therefore, I skip this information. But the fact what I want to highlight is that it has all those components which we have been once upon a time talking about the conventional educational teaching learning process coming into place. And the customization of all those various pedagogical theories and teaching learning theories which we have been discussing for conventional education is to be reinvented and placed in position to fit into the requirements of ODL. That is all what I wanted to highlight by this slide. Fine. The advantages of ODL, as Professor Rajneesh Arora has already highlighted in NEP 2020, we see that it is a potential tool by which we will be able to undo the distance, time, and and increase the capacity to lead to massification of education in this country as well as the entire globe. Then it also gives us an opportunity to stick to our aim to democratize education. It is a social commodity which has to be sorry to use the word commodity, it's a social activity which is to be freely available equitably to everybody. It has to, it improves the quality of education on a mass scale. It can bring in the cost effectiveness of the education in countries like ours, where maybe because Professor Arora was saying there is a major gameplay of bank loans playing in educational sector. Maybe if we have a cost-effective alternative coming in place of the conventional education, that's going to be a game changer. So also we will be in a position to literally practice multiple exit and multiple entry. A person who lost a chance can re-enter the system for a higher education, and also he gets an opportunity for a lifelong learning. I don't need to highlight the importance of the concept of lifelong learning and learning at every possible opportunity for individuals. That's what is envisaged under the ODL in NEP 2020. I just quickly rush through these capabilities. I have already made a mention, as Professor Arora has said in the morning. NEP envisages that a teacher who may be available as a rare resource at a particular geographical location can be made available to the entire country, if not to the entire globe. Then one can always schedule the teaching learning process at their own comfort zone. We have already talked about the resource material available. Well, of course, I underline the fact that the availability of the resource material and the availability of the learning tools is an underlying prerequisite. Well, of course, if that is ensured, as a country, we would be in a position to make a lot of change in this particular using this ODL as a tool. Well, of course, we can undo the cultural, geographical, and religious and political considerations in education. We have the barrier of sex broken there. We have the displacement issues taken care of by ODL. We have a current pandemic situation when people are prohibited or prescribed from group assembly. ODL is the answer to such kind of situations. Fine. Before we get into the proper framework of quality assessment of ODL, let's quickly get into the functions of ODL. It has a function of developing and acquiring programs and courses. Sorry. This is with a fair assessment of the user requirements in the market. Accordingly, we develop the programs, or we screen the programs, and we try to implement those kind of programs. And also it requires the production, reproduction, and dissemination of teaching learning material, as we have already said. It requires delivering of the programs and courses. It requires learner support. It also has assessment, which Professor Patnaik has elaborated upon. It has an evaluation of the process and revisiting the process, or revising the process, and modifying the process as part of the function. If I take you to a close comparison with a conventional program, we find almost everything which we practice as a teaching learning assessment process, or the functions of a conventional teaching learning process, we find over here. Therefore, there is no way by which we can consider this as a secondary level of activity. I just quickly look at this. It not only is a support system, it is a standalone system. There are open universities. The classic example of IGNOU is what is envisaged under the NEP 2020. There could be universities or institutions which can start the open distance programs alone. Or it can have a dual mode, or it can have a blended mode, which takes care of all different kinds of the requirements. Well, of course, this is a Western model. They are mixed mode of institution, but nothing stops us from imbibing the merits of such kind of models in practicing ODL as part of the NEP 2020. Well, of course, when I was there in Punjab Technical University, with all criticisms around the country, that was one of the best distance education model, or the ODL model, which a conventional university has been following. It had a wider acceptability across the country. The model which was adopted at that point of time was a dual model. It had the conventional affiliating universities. Many of the participants are from the Punjab Technical University system. It has a conventional system. Side by side, it had a distance education system which was spread all across the country. So that was giving the university a national visibility, vis-a-vis a capability to offer programs which were not very receptible as a regional issue in Punjab side. So many of the IT sector programs were largely propagated through the ODL scheme in Punjab Technical University, and they used to have a three-tier system. If I start from the ground level system, there is something called LCE, that was called as a learning center. And 10 to 15 learning centers were attached to a regional center. They used to call it as RFLC, Regional Facilitation Learning Center, which will have a cluster of 10 to 15 learning centers. And regional-wise, the RLFCs were even clubbed together. They used to report to the university, and even in the development of the teaching learning material, as well as the dissemination of this material, unlike the IGNOU system, the university had a PPP mode, whereby the private players were also playing a major role in developing the material, in disseminating the material, and ensuring the quality of the deliverance and the quality of education at the ground level. I think that kind of a model, if once the integrity of all these stakeholders are ensured, then definitely we would be in a position to take it forward. Well, this is a small critical question which I normally ask my students. What is quality? I understand that we don't have a generic definition of quality. Quality as a concept vary from context to context, individual to individual. I take several of my jovial examples when I explain quality to the students. But at the end of all these having said, we understand that normally the practice of quality is based on some kind of standards which we set, or some kind of criteria to evaluate the standards we set. And we make, by and large, we try to accommodate the relative nature of the quality. The stakeholders' perception of quality may vary. Say, for example, teachers' quality perception in respect of a class is different from that of the learner who is, the tutor's perception is different from that of the learner, and the learner's perception is different from that of the employer, so on and so forth. That is what is one which we will have to carefully see. then the difference between the quality of the products and the services is to be looked into in doing that. Well, of course, this is a schematic form of the ODL structure. We have the expectations of the stakeholders. We have the process of teaching, learning, the material production, the dissemination of the learning material, the evaluations, and the result or the outcome which is produced, and that is perceived by the stakeholders, and that's what is a frame of the ODL process. So if that is the case, we will have to set standards. If at all, we will have to get into a quality assurance of ODL, or we will have to develop a framework for quality assurance of ODL. We will have to set standards specifically customized for the ODL type of teaching learning activity. We will have to have a system by which we will be able to evaluate the carrying out of the activities. Then we have mechanisms or the criteria in position to evaluate the standards which we set, because if you look at 12.10, we understand that we envisage that our ODL activity should be at par with the international standards. So we have to have a continuous improvement system. Many of us who are participants in the national accreditation activities understand that what I'm talking about is by and large centering around those activities which we are talking about in the accreditation of conventional programs. So therefore, the point which I'm trying to make is that in case of development or evolution of quality standards for ODL, we also need to develop standards and criteria for the accreditation of the ODL systems. On date, we have only a possibility of a NAAC accreditation for the universities offering it, but the quality of individual programs are yet to be assessed. That's what is a challenge in front of us. Then we will have to have a very closely linked quality framework, not different from that of the conventional academic programs, essentially because we have to ensure that there is no difference between the outcome of an ODL program and a conventional program. If that is to be ensured, we will have to have a similarly placed framework by which we will be in a position to evaluate the quality standards. Okay. Well, internationally, this is a reference. Somebody was asking for a reference. Oh, sorry. Internationally, these are the 4 quality models which are practiced specifically for ODL. One is some kind of a certification, the other one is some kind of a benchmarking, the third one is an accreditation, and the fourth one, which is very commonly used in the Oriental countries, is an advisory framework. We don't have an accreditation or a benchmarking system so far developed. So that is what is a quality attribute or a challenge which is in front of us in taking our quality concerns of ODL forward. Fine. I'm just quickly touching upon the framework of quality for ODL. One is the quality of the products and the output. You can see that the outcome shall be the competencies of the students and the quality of the evaluation methodology and the quality of the teaching material and successful completion of the program, so on and so forth, is almost very closely ringing with the accreditation pattern which we follow for conventional education on date, conventional programs on date. The process is also evaluated almost similar to that of, also has to be evaluated almost similar to that of the conventional programs. We have to ensure the production supply chain in case of ODL, because it involves larger content development. Well, of course, content is king is what is said, but it's not enough. The dissemination of the content across the stakeholders is something which has to happen, as what was said by my previous expert lecture, that it requires the proper tool, it requires the adequate and appropriate content which is developed and disseminated. And it also has to have a perception, feeling of the stakeholders as one of the components of the quality evaluation. Okay. Well, of course, we do have assessment for measuring the quality status, but by and large, we do a grave mistake by comparing it with conventional systems. Mind it, the ODL academic teaching learning activity is a standalone activity. Never try to compare it with the conventional teaching learning mode. If we attempt to do that thing, we will be doing a grave error in case of that. Well, of course, if we are able to develop appropriate customized criteria and quality standards, well, this error may not be affecting us. As it was said, we should have a system of continuous evaluation and continuous improvement, which is an inbuilt pattern of our quality assurance. I skipped the assessment because Professor Patnaik has already talked about that. Well, he has also talked about the way how do we assess. Well, I'll just touch upon the specific problems which ODL learners face. The distance and the separation, although has been projected as an advantage, may be a deterrent at times if they do not get an opportunity for a face-to-face contact. See, many of the students' feedback when we were analyzing, it was told the teacher was not available to them, the tutor was not available to them for a continuous teaching learning process. That's something which we will have to ensure. That's a small deterrent in case of ODL implementation. Mostly it affects the funding opportunity. Then people try to balance between their domestic and workplace commitments to the learning process. And many a times it is seen that the learning process is what is more compromised in comparison to their domestic or the workplace commitments. Well, at times some people have the difficulty in respect of lack of resources or equipment in meeting with. But as Professor Patnaik has said, we as a country are trying to evolve strategies by which all our countrysides will be enabled or e-enabled, if at all we will have to go by the e-learning as a strategy or online learning as a strategy. That is there in the back end, as Professor Arora has said in the morning. It's no more the four walls of the classroom or the blackboard or the good toilet, which is which is a measure of the teaching learning. It is the learning capability which the learner has developed, or the competencies which the learner has developed. So therefore, more effort is to be diverted towards such kind of capability enhancement or development, and at times the learner faces difficulty in developing appropriate techniques. Well, of course, this has been largely debated. You know it better than me. In pedagogical circles, they need to be given some kind of the bridge courses or the base courses by which the learner is brought to a level in which the teaching material is disseminated, or he is given a slow pace program under the ODL. All these possibilities are inbuilt in case of the ODL strategy. That's why it is said as a capable system to take care of these difficulties. With that, I stop my presentation to keep the time frame given to me. It is already 1:15. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. If I am to be part of the discussion, I can be there, or otherwise, if you want, I can leave the meeting. Because the morning, Professor Patnaik was saying that the expert has to leave the scene when the discussion takes place. So whichever way you want.
Thank you so much, sir.